Unit 9, page 102. Listening and speaking.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. May I say what a pleasure it is to have been invited to this marvellous new festival, and also how delighted I am to have such a splendid audience this evening. I'm going to be talking to you about one of the greatest archaeological events in recent history, the discovery of the tomb of the Egyptian pharaoh Tutankhamun. The discovery was made in 1922 by the British archaeologist Howard Carter. Carter had been working for 5 years in the Valley of the Kings, searching for Tutankhamun's tomb. Running out of money, he was about to admit defeat, abandon the search, and return to England. However, he unexpectedly came across some stone steps beneath the desert sand, and these steps led down to Tutankhamun's tomb. What he discovered inside the tomb was astonishing. Almost everyone today is familiar with Tutankhamun's famous death mask, but in addition to this, and of course the body of King Tutankhamun himself, there were over 3,000 objects in the tomb. Statues, beds, chairs, chariots, boats, necklaces, earrings, children's toys. If you ever have the chance to go to the museum in Cairo to see this extraordinary exhibition, please do. You will not believe your eyes. News of these discoveries spread quickly. People were astonished by what Howard Carter had found. Soon, people in Europe and America became totally fascinated by all things Egyptian. They went wild for it. So much so that Egyptian style, or at least the style of the pharaohs, began to influence the style of Europe and America in the 1920s and 30s. Clothes, jewelry, furniture, and architecture were all heavily influenced by the discoveries in Egypt. Let me show you some examples. This house was built in 1929. Doesn't it remind you of an Egyptian temple? Here is a jacket made in England in 1922. It shows scenes of Egyptian life, such as you might see on the walls of a tomb. Here is the Chrysler Building in New York, which was completed in 1930. Notice the patterns at the top of the building. They represent the sun, and of course, the sun was extremely important in the ancient Egyptian religion. Let's look inside the Chrysler Building. These are the doors of a lift. Could they be more Egyptian? The design of smaller items, too, were influenced by ancient Egypt. Egyptian-style jewelry became extremely fashionable. Items for the home, such as vases and clocks, all showed the Egyptian influence. Look at this. You might not recognize it, but it's a radio. I find it quite astonishing that the discovery of the tomb of a young man, and he was young, he was only 19 when he died, could have such an incredible influence on the everyday lives of people 3,000 years later. Extraordinary, quite extraordinary. Perhaps we should have a closer look at the Chrysler Building in New York. I must say, it is one of my favorite buildings anywhere in the world. Did you know it was completed in only 2 years? The builders worked at a frantic pace.